Hey everybody, my name is Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. We're back on the live stream, baby. We're streaming live in 3 different places. The Heavy on Jets Facebook page, over 30 freaking thousand New York Jet fans. Thanks for joining us here late on a Tuesday evening. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, and of course on Twitter at BoyGreen25 as well. And I just happened to get out of Taekwondo training tonight, getting ready for my 4th-degree black belt test this Saturday, when a great Jets fan that always sends me great info, shout out to him, sent me the video from Diana Rossini of ESPN, who said something very interesting on NFL Live. A scoop, the old scoop ski. From the Derek Carr New York Jets visit, which again took place over this past weekend, a multi-day visit, started on Friday, worked its way through the weekend, and Derek Carr left the facilities late over the weekend to try to make a decision. Well, without further ado, we'll play you the clip. This is, again, Diana Rossini on NFL Live via the NFL on ESPN YouTube channel. And it's just fascinating stuff, guys. So we will play the clip, and then we're all going to react to it together. Here is Diana Rossini of ESPN, and let's go. Here she is on the Derek Carr visit. This should be fun.
Well, Derek Carr is certainly in the driver's seat here in the situation. You just mentioned some of the teams that are interested in him. And in terms of that visit with the New York Jets, I heard it went really well from both sides. And in terms of what New York was trying to sell him, because let's face it, that's what they're doing at this point. They were pretty clear with him. They told him he's a great quarterback. They believe that he's got a legit surrounding cast of players. They went through the top D, the strong young skill guys, the explosive run game. They ran through top to bottom of why Derek Carr can step in here and take this team not just to the playoffs, but to the Super Bowl. And they made it really personal too. They said, we believe if you come to New York and win, you could be a first ballot Hall of Famer, right? So they went full in on Derek Carr here to let him know they really want him to play for the New York Jets.
Yeah. That sounds fantastic, Teddy. I mean, if you...
Wow. Okay, there you go. That is from old Diana Rossini there of ESPN. And in case you missed it, you may have just heard that. No, that's not what they said. No, that's what she said. Diana Rossini of ESPN said that during the meeting of where the Jets are pitching themselves to Derek Carr, they made it, quote, super personal. And they said, we believe if you, Derek Carr, come to New York and win, you could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Excuse me? I'm sorry, who now? What? Zoinks? Zooey mama. First ballot Hall of Famer. A bust in Canton. Derek Carr, first ballot. Darrelle Revis, first ballot. What in God's green earth? I will say this. Wow. That's a wow quote. We'll get into some other juicy nuggets. We'll be on for like an hour here, guys. So feel free to jump into the comment section wherever you are as we dive in, break down all of this in the latest buzz between the New York Jets and Derek Carr. Wowzer. I mean, I will say this. Obviously, that quote is getting a lot of airtime right now of people reacting to Diana Rossini's report. I will say this. In Rossini's, it's not really Rossini's defense. She's just reporting what she's hearing. But I will say that for New York people know this, but I think non-New York people don't. There's a lot of non-New York people commenting on this. When you win in New York, when you win, I'm talking winning. You win a championship, you win a Super Bowl, that's way different than if you win it in Arizona. Sorry, our Arizona fans in the audience. If you win a freaking Super Bowl in New York, specifically with the New York Jets, who haven't won in 50 plus years, all of a sudden the conversation gets we get a little different. Now, first ballot, I don't know if I'm going that far. I will say this may be an unpopular take here on a chat, talking all things Jets, but like, to me, unquestioned, Eli Manning is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, he may not have, and he actually does have first ballot Hall of Famer numbers from his longevity of his career, but to be blunt, to be honest, winning 2 Super Bowls, not won 2 in New York, and beating the New England Patriots, a.k.a. Tom Brady, twice. I mean, Eli Manning has punched his ticket clearly to the end zone. So to me, I believe he's first ballot Hall of Famer. I believe if Derek Carr wins a Super Bowl with the Jets and the numbers he's put up and the numbers he could continue to put up at just 31 years of age, will be 32 in the offseason. Sure, Hall of Fame could be in the cards, and you win a Super Bowl, you deliver a championship to the fan-starved nation of the Jets. Anything's possible. I mean, we are getting to sizzle sexy town. Wow, this kind of smoke that's coming out of this Jets Carr meeting. It sounds like it was a fantastic meeting on all sides, from Diana Rossini, Connor Hughes, Jeff Darlington was the other one, as I kind of go through my timeline here to give you guys the latest intel. I know it's been a hot second since we hopped on live here. So let's go through a couple of nuggets here. Let me get the Connor Hughes nuggets. This was from late last night. He said that Derek Carr, quote, completely erased all the concerns about personality meshing in New York. Again, that's been a big sticking point with some people, that Derek Carr, who reads what is written about him, he reacts to podcasts and other things. He did that in Las Vegas and the Raiders people that I talked to, that, potentially in New York, where there's even a hotter light, there's even a greater gravity in terms of a microscope on him, that potentially Derek Carr could be a rub there, according to Connor Hughes of SNY. You guys could check out that tweet as well on my timeline on Twitter, @BoyGreen25, that those concerns were put to bed. Derek Carr wants to have a deal done ahead of free agency. So we've heard from Ian Rappaport that they'd like to figure out something during the combine, which takes place from February 28th through March 6th. The free agency is a week later, so we still have a handful of weeks here, which, by the way, his brother, David Carr, said it will be a quote-unquote long process, and that Derek Carr would like to meet with all the teams that are interested in him so he can make an informed decision. So there seems to be a lot of smoke here that this will be a process that takes its time all the way through, which, again, could benefit the Jets with all the Aaron Rodgers stuff. And also in the rest of Diana Rossini's reporting, she does suggest that the Jets would at least like to know where Aaron Rodgers sits so they can make an informed decision, which makes sense from the Jets side if they're able to do that. Let's go through a couple of people. Let's welcome everybody in tonight. We got Ty Rapp. Oh, God, we're in for a treat. You bet you are. Every time we go live, we're in for a treat. Vinny and the Jets. Paul, thank you again for going live. Vinny was on our Twitter space yesterday. Shout out to Petey Pablo, doing all the great work as well. So appreciate Petey. We try to do Twitter spaces every once in a while. By the way, random, I announced it on Petey's Twitter space, but I'll also announce it here. We have a brand new show coming out. That's our big announcement. You guys will see that later this week. I've partnered with an amazing brand, and it will be a unique Jets entity that I think all you fans are going to really appreciate. So keep your eye out for social media. There'll be a major announcement. The professional voiceover guy, that's how you know it's really official. We'll have a cool new looking studio here virtually. Oh, there's a lot of cool stuff happening. So guys, be on your toes. That should be announced at some point this week, a brand new show. And I think you guys are going to really get a kick out of it. A new direction. We're still going to do these shows and everything else, but I think something you'll like. Matthias, I'm feeling good about our chance of landing one of the top two quarterbacks, and I'm going to be honest, me too, Matthias. Now, I will say I am a glass half full kind of guy. That's how I operate my life, okay? I love being glass half full. I love looking at life and trying to find the positive. The Jets are firmly in the conversation for Derek Carr, obviously. They sold it. They whacked some sweet poetic. They had great conversations. And I personally would be very happy. So, you're feeling good, Matthias, about our chance of landing one of the top two quarterbacks. So one of the top two in my mind are Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. I would be enthralled with either. Now, I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Derek Carr, and that's why also in this particular situation would cost some level of draft compensation and more to lure him to New York. But that's the interesting question is I think without a doubt, Aaron Rodgers can win the Jets a Super Bowl. I have no doubts about his capability as a quarterback. Derek Carr, can he do it? I think he could get him to the playoffs unquestioned. Now to the Super Bowl, well, I guess we'd have to figure it out. I'm not as slam dunk about it, but quite frankly, if we just go back to last year, people, competent, quite frankly, below average quarterback play, the Jets are in the playoffs, and they didn't even get that. And Derek Carr is above the below average mark. So who knows what could have happened if you had Derek Carr on that team and you're in the playoffs, you may get a ticket to the dance. Who knows what can happen? But from your optimism standpoint, Matthias, we are in the same ballpark, brother. I think without a doubt, the Jets will land one of those two quarterbacks. It will either be Carr or Rodgers, and we will be celebrating like nobody's business. We'll be popping the bubbly. We will be celebrating as we should to have a new QB1, and not the same questions of, wow, I really hope this guy works out. There's no hope. Derek Carr, he has a track record of success. Aaron Rodgers, obviously, has a track record of success that would be spectacular. I mean, whoa, baby. That would be great. Also, guys, I'll let it be known for all our people on the YouTube channel. Also, the YouTube Super Chat feature is available. If you'd like to throw a little change in our tin cup, we'll give you a major shout out on the show, and it's a way to support the channel if you guys like. And if there's one free way you guys can contribute, make sure you like the video, hit subscribe down below. We're on the chase to 4,000 subscribers. Let me check the current numbers to keep you guys aware of the analytics that are happening. And a major shout out to you guys for the tremendous jump that there's been on this show here. The current number is 3,650 gosh darn subscribers, baby. And I love all you guys. So we are 350 away from 4K, baby. The Jets haven't seen 4K since 1967. Maybe we could see it, after all these years on the YouTube channel, for Pete's sake. But that's neither here nor there. But that's your free way to contribute on the show. But this is a show by the people, for the people. So make sure you guys get in the comment section. I love interacting with you guys, the fans. Anthony Joseph on our Facebook page. Hey, boy, Green and Jets Nation. How everyone tonight? I'm spectacular, quite frankly. I know this has been a long, drawn-out process because obviously with how the end of the Jets season went, that we were looking ahead to quarterback once we realized how everything was kind of spin out. So we had a couple of weeks in the regular season, unfortunately. We've had, the Senior Bowl. We've had a good 2 months here, essentially. It's not quite that long, but basically 2 months of speculation. I love speculation, and I'm not getting tired of the quarterback talk. I mean, I'd love to know who the guy is. Who is mystery door number 2? Everybody, come on out, whoever you are. I'd like to know, but I'm really excited about it. Matthias, he wins a Super Bowl here. The sky's the limit. 100%. That's part of the resume. If he wins a Super Bowl, he being Derek Carr is part of, guys, you can rewind the video if you're on YouTube and hear the Diana Rossini comments, but she said that the Jets told Carr in the meeting, like, hey, man, if you win a Super Bowl here, you could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now, that's probably a little aggressive, but overall, though, you could be a Hall of Famer with quarterback numbers, and he's super durable, so he can put up numbers every year. And then winning a Super Bowl for the star franchise that is the New York Jets. We will build a statue for Derek Carr. I will name my third child, if we get that far, Derek Carr. For Pete's sake. I mean, yeah, win us a Super Bowl. I think I said this yesterday. We must have. I did some other show. It was a Twitter Spaces that. It's so going to be worth it when the Jets win the Super Bowl. Okay, when they win the Super Bowl, it's going to be so worth it, guys. When they win the Super Bowl, because all the years of heartache and pain are going to pay off when we're hoisting that Lombardi and shoving it in people's faces. And then the second Super Bowl, I say this often. The Jets never lose Super Bowls, okay? They're batting 1,000 right now. Every time they go to the Super Bowl, they win. Now, some people will say they've only been to one. Well, I will say this. Every time they go, they win. They don't waste their time going to Super Bowls they're going to lose. Nope. They go to the Super Bowl, they win it. You punch your ticket in, you win. It is what it is. Anthony Joseph, who's ready for the NFL draft? Anthony, that's a great question. And to be honest, as a draft guy, my birthday is April 26th. I love the draft. The draft is in my very fiber, my blood. I love mock drafts. I love draft speculation. Last year, we did a spectacular mock draft Monday playlist on our channel where we brought on draft experts, draft prospects. We had Devin Lloyd, who was a first rounder for the Jaguars last year on the show. All kinds of great people. Connor Rodgers, Trevor Sikkema, all kinds of the best draft people on the planet. And we talked about different scenarios. And it was sexy, of course, because the Jets had all these picks. But I got to tell you, the reason why, for those who may be wondering, who are a fan of our draft content, why we haven't really been on it. I did one episode at the end of the season with Trevor Sikkema. You guys can find that in the Path to the 2023 draft playlist. But besides that, I've kind of remained removed because I just have this weird feeling that the Jets are going to trade for Aaron Rodgers. And I felt that way for a long time. That, man, what's the mock draft show going to look like until we kind of have that clarity on the future? Now, if they sign Derek Carr, then great. We have all these picks to talk about and prognosticate about and whatnot. But I've been somewhat removed from that because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen at quarterback. So I apologize for the lack of draft content, quite frankly, that we haven't had on the channel, but hopefully we could get that machine back going because I thoroughly enjoy that, Anthony. So I am looking forward to the draft, but I'm looking forward to kind of the solution to this quarterback problem before I can fully appreciate it. I don't know if other people feel the same. James Horn, speechless after the Diana Rossini comments. Yeah. I could see that. I could see a lot of people are that. Chad Fulmer here. Maybe not in the first year with some upgrade for the offensive line. Yeah, absolutely. We'll stay healthy. Staying healthy is a plus. That's for sure. And that's why I think there is such a dynamic. Okay, there is such a dynamic between, what can happen for the Jets and what may not happen. And it's the offensive line. In some sense, you can feel negative. I think it was Damian Woody on Get Up. He said, hey, you know what? The Jets are not this quarterback away. They have a lot of things to fix. And Damian Woody pointed to the offensive line, saying the Jets need to do some work. And they do. They do. They have no center right now. Connor McGovern's a free agent. Dwayne Brown could retire. George Fant is a free agent. Mekhi Becton has played 44 snaps in the last 2 years. Laken Tomlinson, unfortunately, was a disappointment last year. Elijah Vera-Tucker's coming off a torn tricep. And Max Mitchell had a rare blood clot. So really, there is no one you can feel anything great about just without question. So I understand that. But on the other side, if you're like me, glass half full, Mekhi Becton comes back. Okay. Laken Tomlinson can't be any worse than he was last year, so he's going to be better. You like that. Absolutely. At center, you either bring back Connor McGovern or draft a guy in day 2, so you feel good about the youth. You have Elijah Vera-Tucker. I think he's going to be a stud. I think you have Max Mitchell back, and all of a sudden, hey, maybe the Jets throw some money at Mike McGlinchey in free agency. I don't know. I think there is a way to make sure this offense line, once you figure out quarterback, because that's a big piece, and that's why Derek Carr is attractive in a lot of ways, because you get Derek Carr, and it was interesting that Derek Carr had some of these comments that if you get Derek Carr in, he wants to sign ahead of free agency so he can recruit others to join him. Wow, sounds sexy to me. So you solve QB1, and then you have a guy actively seeking other guys. He was just at the Pro Bowl, so he could be talking to some names to bring in here to the Jets organization. That's a plus. So all of a sudden, things can flip pretty quick, Chad. Things can flip pretty quick. Kevin Harris from NOLA, but representing the Jets. That's beautiful. Well, Kevin, you may run into my parents. They're hanging out at Mardi Gras. My dad and mother are on vacation, so shout out to my parents for Mardi Gras. I've never been. I rub that on my dad's face often, like, Dad, when am I getting the Mardi Gras invite, baby? Which maybe I shouldn't as a father now, but that's neither here nor there. But hopefully you guys are enjoying all that. I know my parents are. From the pictures I've seen, they certainly are. Let's go to BC here. Do they know that Rodgers isn't interested in the Jets? Why would they say that to Carr, first ballot Hall of Famer? Well, I mean, why would you say that? Well, the Jets are in a position where they're bringing Carr in, and any guy for that matter. They are trying to pitch themselves to another team. And I have to be honest. I think the Jets pitch from the team to the guy is about as good of a pitch as you could ask. They had a top 5 defense last year. They had the offensive and defensive rookie of the years. That's only the 3rd time in NFL history that's ever happened. They got freaking Breece Hall. They've got, like I said, and I have to imagine they're pitching a plan to these guys like Derek Carr. Like, we bring you in. All of a sudden, we could start recruiting in free agency, do all this other stuff. So it makes a lot of sense to me why they would say that. While, I don't know if they knew that was then going to come out on ESPN and NFL Live, but it makes sense to pitch yourself and say, hey, man, you come here with all this talent. We could go places, baby. You have to pitch yourself. So I'm not surprised, and people shouldn't be, that these are the things that are being said. Like, they think you could do this. They think you could do that. You have to pitch yourself. You have to try to, sell them on the team. And do they know that Rodgers isn't interested in the Jets as the reaction to that comment? No. Like, they can't talk to Rodgers right now. As far as I know, I haven't seen the Pat McAfee show today. I've been kind of deplugged after coming back from the radio station, so I'll have to catch up on that. And maybe you guys can catch me up if you saw something. But I believe Rodgers, from all accounts, is still MIA. So they can't talk to Rodgers yet. He's not a free agent. I'm sure that I can guarantee, I can confirm Jeremy Fowler's report that the Jets inquired to the Green Bay Packers, hey, what's up with Aaron Rodgers? They said, well, we'd love to tell you, but he's doing this darkness retreat thing, then we'll know. And the Jets said, well, call us when he figures it out. So, like, the Jets are interested, and we will find out if Rodgers is interested. I would imagine he is, from everything I've gathered, from people I've talked to. I would be surprised if Aaron Rodgers just, I'm good on the Jets. And I'm not trying to say that as an arrogant Jets guy, because we have nothing to be arrogant, obviously, about over the last 12 years. But it sounds like he would like to go to New York, in theory, and do the same thing Brett Favre did, but better. And say, well, Brett Favre, sure, you had the 8-3 that Jet fans were razzed up about, but what about this playoff run? What about the Super Bowl championship? And then he's like, the creme de la creme, the last infinity stone, the last gem in the crown that, like, boom. I already was a Hall of Famer, but booyah, look what I just did. I just went to the Jets and won. So I'm not surprised with that. JW, where is that hosted? On Twitter. That's correct. Occasionally we'll do this thing called Twitter Spaces. It is a audio podcast. It can also be listened to after the fact. You guys can go back and look at that on PD's Twitter account. I also retweeted it myself, so just find it on my Twitter account. But we occasionally do an audio podcast that's out there for fans to join and do questions and things of that nature. I try to do that with PD, every once in a while. I think we'll do another one in the March range. There'll be some big things to announce. And we'll have some more regular content here on YouTube, even more so. So, guys, stay tuned for that. Again, like the video, hit subscribe. Pete Ellis, what's your thoughts on Carr? Let's go through it here, Pete. I think Derek Carr, well, here's a few things we know. Derek Carr is 31 years of age. He'll turn 32 ahead of the season. This is a guy that presents the best short-term, long-term combo option of the guys listed. Aaron Rodgers obviously would be chasing the right now, which I have no problem with, by the way. But just speaking on Carr, he is young enough, or he, in theory, could be your quarterback for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know. Tom Brady's kind of throwing a wrench into how we evaluate quarterbacks. He played till he was 45. So we're like, oh, anyone can play till they're 45. I don't know what the real number is. But at 31, 32, another 4 or 5 years I could see without stretching. So I think Derek Carr, and we talked about this before, I think he's a borderline top 10 quarterback. When we did an analysis on one of these podcasts, I pulled up the NFL standings. And because I'm an overall NFL guy too, I started listing the quarterbacks on each team. And then, oh, he's better than Carr. He's better than Carr. He's not better than Carr. And I got Derek Carr somewhere in the 9 to 11 range. That's why I had Derek Carr listed. So borderline top 10. And the question I asked on top of that, like a rhetorical question to the fans, or you could actually discuss it. Will the talent on the Jets roster make Derek Carr go from 9 to 11 to top 7? Top 6? Could that happen? I don't know. It's an open question. Or vice versa. Could Derek Carr all of a sudden take the talent that's around him and he lifts him up? So either talent lifts him up or he lifts talent up. Either way. So I think he would be a massive, massive upgrade over what the Jets had. Zach Wilson at times couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He was missing wide open guys. We celebrated when the Jets got a first down. A first down. I mean, this is an offensive-driven league. Like with Derek Carr, there's no questions about can he complete a pass? Of course he can. How many touchdowns we score him? That's how the conversation shifts. So I think he's a dramatic upgrade. So, yes, I won't talk about Rodgers. That wasn't part of the question, but that's what I believe. That I believe Derek Carr is a borderline top 10 quarterback. He is 31 years of age. He'd be a massive upgrade for the Jets, and he would make them an instant playoff contender, if not more, with Derek Carr on this team. I firmly believe that. Anthony Joseph, wait, did Mel current pick at number 1, who the Bears have? I believe ultimately that pick will be traded. We will see. That will develop coming up here. I know Mel, I'm not sure Mel. I know Tom McShay had the latest mock draft. He projected a Colts trade. Matt Miller projected a Colts trade. It will be something in that ballpark. probably for Jet fans, I'll speak for myself. I'm kind of done with the young quarterback thing. Some of them are intriguing, like C.J. Stroud, but, I want a veteran quarterback. I want a guy that's coming in, and I just know what he can bring to the team. So I'm kind of done with the young quarterback. So personally, with the Jets currently still having the number 13 overall pick, I want as many quarterbacks to go as possible. Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, Will Levis, boom, just pew, pew, pew. Draft them up, baby, and hopefully that slides some talent down. Whether that's a nice pass rusher, and whether that's perhaps an offensive lineman, maybe whatever. We have time to figure all that out, but that's where I would be. Let's go back to Chad Fulmer here on Facebook. What's up, Boy Green and Anthony Joseph? I want to be excited about new quarterback, but man, I just feel the Jets always wait too long. I sure hope they're working at least one of these top quarterbacks. Well, they're clearly working Carr, but I will tell you this. Of course, the Jets could have offered Derek Carr something, and what I mean by this, they could have gave him an offer he couldn't refuse. They could have said, I'm making this up, but here's $50 million. And he's like, okay, I'm signing right now. Boom, it's over. They could have ended it right now. And I know some Jet fans are like, why didn't you? Especially with all the things that they're saying. But I think there is mutual respect on both sides where the Jets say, well, we want to kind of see how the field plays out. And Carr's like, perfect, because I kind of want to see how the field plays out. Now, what I hope happened during that wonderful meeting between the Jets and Carr is that both sides came to the end and said, hey, Derek, if another team goes all in and says, here's a 3-year deal for $60 million. I'm making that up, but here's a 3-year deal for $60 million. You'll get more money than that. But will Derek Carr turn around, call the Jets, say, hey, I just got an offer. You want to beat it? Because first off, even if Derek Carr didn't want to play for the Jets, it's smart for business for him and his agent to do that. And hopefully the Jets get an opportunity to match. Because if they do, then they, in theory, can't lose. They will always have an opportunity to match. So hopefully that's the case. They are waiting, but patience is a virtue. And the Jets have to get it right. So, again, I love Derek Carr. If we get Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers, I am elated. Absolutely elated. I prefer Rodgers, but different strokes, different folks. But I don't believe they will wait too long. Ultimately, I guess we'll see. But I think they're just having multiple stokes in the fire, and juggling can be a dangerous game. Bill, Carr is the best option, not a 1 or 2 year rental in Rodgers. I don't disagree with that thought process. To me, I want to chase a ring, baby. I am getting a guy to chase a championship. You've got a lot of impressive young talent on rookie deals. Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Elijah Vera Tucker. Eventually, you're going to have to start paying these cats. And that's where it gets a lot harder to play football. And before we get there, I want to chase a ring. I think maybe you could chase one with Carr, but I know you could chase one with Rodgers. That's me. Dark Soldier coming in here. Crew! No longer the Deadpool photo, a real photo of him, I'm assuming. But I respect it nonetheless. Big Daddy, Rodgers needs to let Jets know as soon as he comes out of the cave. Hopefully he does with the beautiful Joe Klecko profile picture. I love that. Hopefully he does. Let's see. JW, 100% hit the like button on YouTube, baby. Yes, please do. Please do. Oh, wouldn't that be something? Grand Peasy. Could be a Drew Brees-esque situation, God willing. Go Jets. That would be cool because this is, and a lot of insiders have talked about this. I mean, this is rare for Derek Carr. I mean, the Raiders totally bungled the situation, and stop me if you've heard that before. That Derek Carr at 31 years of age just became an unrestricted free agent, 1, and 2, like a month before free agency started, he slipped through the cracks because they butchered the contract. And then they butchered the situation, like completely butchered, that they're getting nothing, zilch, zero, nada for Derek Carr. They blew it. And in this particular case, of course, in your situation that you're talking about, Grand Peasy, Drew Brees had the choice between the New Orleans Saints and the Miami Dolphins with old Nick Saban down there. He picked the Saints. The rest is history. Of course, they win a Super Bowl. He is the architect of one of the most prolific offenses in NFL history, multiple 5,000-yard seasons. We can only hope that kind of success. And I can't say enough. I would be thrilled with Derek Carr. Dark Soldier, I'm secretly hoping A-Rod stays so we sign Carr and shut up all the naysayers. Yeah, there is a lot of people who hate Derek Carr. I don't get it, quite frankly. And one of the big reasons I don't get it is the Jets have had garbage. I mean garbage at quarterback. the only halfway decent quarterback that Jets have had over the last 12 years is Ryan Fitzpatrick, and that one weird year in 2015. And then I wanted him to just go. I was cool handing the keys to the franchise to Geno Smith. The Jets, in this long, drawn out contract negotiation, bring Fitzpatrick back, and he's never the same. Like, you couldn't recreate the magic. So the fact that the Jets have had trash at quarterback and they're all high and mighty, like, we're too good for Carr. Are we? No, we're not. Carr would be an upgrade. So I would not mind that at all. Would not mind that at all. Ryan Fowler on our Facebook. Derek had the heart we need to succeed. With good coaching, it'll be a win. Can do well in the draft and be solid. Again, there is a lot to like Ryan freaking Fowler about the Derek Carr combination. You keep your picks, you have your money, and you figure it out beforehand. Even if you trade for Aaron Rodgers, again, for people who don't know, you can agree to a trade ahead of time, so you'll have Aaron Rodgers, technically speaking, but you won't officially have him until the new league year kicks off, which is March 15th. With Derek Carr, you sign him. He's on the team. We're doing a Derek Carr press conference. They're doing a Derek Carr press conference, and the games begin. The Aaron Rodgers thing, it kind of hangs out in the balance. So, you want to move this ship as quickly as possible. And you keep all your picks, obviously, in the Carr situation. Anthony Joseph, I saw some draft trade rumors, Zach Wilson, Mims, along with 13. For Rodgers, if you saw that, I have not seen that one. I did see, we did a video earlier. You guys could check it on the YouTube channel. There was a trade proposal, and this is from a Broncos person. I want that to be importantly noted, that Zach Wilson, Denzel Mims, in exchange to the Denver Broncos for Cortland Sutton and a future fourth-round pick. First off, Cortland Sutton obviously is a massive upgrade over Denzel Mims. He's heading into the final year of his deal, and Zach Wilson hasn't shown enough yet. Now, I'd kind of like the Rodgers, Zach Wilson QB thing because you kind of keep your stoke in the fire with Wilson and you have Aaron freaking Rodgers. So I kind of like that personally. But if you could get that massive upgrade, because you're probably moving on from Corey Davis, and Sutton brings that size. You're like 6'4", 216 pounds. He'd bring nice size to kind of round out the receiving core with him, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. With Aaron Rodgers throwing them the ball, wee, that could be sexy, baby. That could be sexy. I would like that. That would be great. Greg Bubb, Carr would have to be salivating at the thought of the offensive weapons he would have. I would imagine. I sure as hell would be. If I'm Derek Carr. Again, I get you don't have the Devontae Adams, quote unquote. I think Garrett Wilson could be very special, but he doesn't have that. But besides that, though, Breece freaking Hall, spectacular. Garrett Wilson, great. Elijah Moore, I think, could get a nice bump too. I think, and Tyler Conklin is a nice receiving guy. And then I think they get another guy, whether that's Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Hopkins, probably not, but maybe. I don't know. But I would go get another receiver for sure. That I'd really like. Let's see. We got a super chat in here. Vinny and the Jets. Boy Green inspired Jets channels like mine. And Vinny, first off, thank you so much for doing a YouTube super chat here. It means a lot for you guys to support the channel. And I need to give you a shout out, Green Bean a shout out, and anyone else that has said something similar to me. Guys, you guys make this whole ship go. And it means the world to me that some of my expressions and words and podcasts and everything else has inspired other channels. This is an amazing Jets community. So it means the bottom of my heart. It hits me right here, man, when I hear comments like that, Vinny. So that means a lot. Thank you so much. And I will say that I've been doing my Audio Jets podcast for over a decade. It's been a wonderful run. And I'm hoping to, reignite that brand. I know it's been a little dead for a little while. The Jet Zone weekly, one episode a week every Wednesday. But with all the content out there, like, we need to be on every day. And we have tried to be with live streams, videos, and other things. We have a lot of content coming. I'm waiting for a few announcements to make a few things official. But yeah, it's a new world out there, and anyone can start a show. And I'm hoping Vinny, for you, and Green Bean, we have wonderful guys. I'm going to miss them by listing them, but we have a lot of really cool people in the community. It's great to have you, Vinny. PEM. Drama Queen Rodgers had almost the same stats as Derek Carr with a top 10 defense. The thing I would say, though, for the people who criticize Rodgers, he had a broken thumb. That's important to note. I think there was a lot of drama You could say drama Rodgers inspired, but also other drama. And his worst year, quote unquote, for Rodgers this past season, his worst year in like 7 years or something, would be like a top season with the Jets. So before that, though, back-to-back MVPs. So we have to paint the full picture. I'm not basing anything off of just last season, because if I was, Derek Carr had a horrible year last year. He was bottom in the league in completion percentage and interceptions and everything else. So if we want to go 1 year sample size, there are a lot of criticisms and question marks on either side. But I will say that I judge both of these players on the track record of success, not just last year, where both struggled bluntly with a variety of issues. Let's keep going here. E-Rock here says the Jets aren't wrong to say that. If he wins the Super Bowl here, he's a legend forever. 100% true. Let's see. What about Ryan Tannehill? I've heard a few people bring this up. Good question, Daniel Smith, on our Facebook page. I will say the thing I don't like about Tannehill, and this is from his old days in Miami, and that's when we really got to see him up close and personal as often as we did. He had a lot of interception issues in Miami, through like double-digit interceptions like every year of his career in the Dolphins days. He, to me, is a true fallback option of fallback options, because if Aaron Rodgers just stays, let's say, and Derek Carr signs with some other team, and I'm sure he'll be very attractive to a few teams for that matter, that would be like we get to like free agency and the Jets are sniffing around guys like Jimmy Garoppolo. And then they call up Tennessee and say, what does it take? And then that's where we get into the differential of like a Tannehill to a Garoppolo. Tannehill, pretty durable. He's got some athleticism as a former wide receiver. But what's the ceiling? That's the question. But maybe if you're in that position, because you obviously, to talk about Tannehill, you missed on everybody else, that at that point you're just saying, okay, who's a guy that's just going to not make mistakes? And he hasn't in the Tennessee days. He's cut back the interceptions in his Tennessee second act. But he's okay. Doesn't really titillate my juices. He's fine. He's meh. He's an upgrade, but I feel like we could say that about a lot of people, but he would be an upgrade over what the Jets have had in recent memory for sure, but doesn't titillate the juice. I'm not running out going, ooh, let's get that Tannehill jersey. I'm doing that for Aaron Rodgers. I'm probably doing that for Derek Carr, to be honest with you. But Ryan Tannehill, I'm not sure if I'm going that far. Let's see. When was the last playoff? Yeah, Mark Sanchez, that was the 2010 playoffs where they lost to the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. That was the last time the Jets were in the playoffs. It's been 12 years, which is the longest drought in Jets franchise history. Unacceptable. It's time to change that. It's time to change that. Let's see. I think Rodgers going to the Raiders. Maybe they could go old or young. I could see either way. Ooh, that's a cool stat. I've not seen that, Turbo Duran. Who doesn't want Derek? He has 33 game-winning drives and 9-1 in overtime wins. That's kind of interesting. I like that. Momo Adamo here. Hey, Paul, I feel that if Aaron Rodgers really wanted to be a Jet, he would have kite sent by one of his people out to the Jets on the down low, saying he's interested in being a Jet. That could be. And again, with all the connections, it's hard to imagine the Jets are acting blindly here. The interest in Rodgers, again, there's a lot of variables, again, with the trade and everything else, but I think you are right. I think the Jets know something. Like, I don't know how sure. They're not like he's 100% going, but I feel like there is some level of confidence that it's kind of a, we'll see you. We'll see you when we get out of the cave. I think there is a little something there. Anthony Joseph, great question. What's your take if Aaron Rodgers takes Namath number 12 if we sign him? In 1985, the New York Jets retired the number 12 jersey, which, by the way, I have in my closet. It's one of my favorite jerseys. Joe Namath. For me personally, and we talk about it a lot here in Syracuse, my day job as a sports talk radio host, we talk about the legendary number 44 here at Syracuse. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, Floyd Little, Larry Zonka. There's been a lot of famous 44s in Syracuse's history, and that jersey is retired. I ride with the people that wore the jersey. So Joe Namath came out on a radio show with Tiki and Tierney and said, hey, he can have 12 if he wants to. That 12 looks good on him. And he wants to use that as a recruiting tool. And Joe Namath says, hey, take my number. If he says it, it's cool to me. That's how I look at it. for the Syracuse people, God rest his soul, Floyd Little, a great man, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I've had the great pleasure of meeting him several times. I considered him a great friend. Unfortunately, passed away here a few years ago. Floyd Little, when we brought him on the radio show, and I asked him about the 44, hey, what do you think? If the Syracuse used it as a recruiting tool, he said, hell yeah, baby. I want people to wear 44 because then they're going to remember me. They're going to talk about me. And that's, and not like in a selfish thing, but like, hey, man, my legacy stays alive if 44 is alive. If it's retired and getting dust on the shelf, you only talk about it when we're going to the old school film. So there is something to that, which I really like too. So my take is whatever the player says. And the player has made his take known. He is fine giving up number 12. Now, would Aaron Rodgers really take it? That's interesting. That's interesting. Probably, because again, that's his whole brand. He's been 12 his entire career. But that would be very interesting to me. And Raw Power, you could be right that a lot of this stuff is Carr leaking it from his side. Again, it makes a lot of sense for Carr's agent to be leaking this stuff as opposed to the Jets. What's their benefit of doing that? But it could also be, I will throw this out there. I don't know, obviously, where Diana's getting her information. But here's another factoid, is that the Jets are saying all these wonderful, leaking it to Diana, saying, go ahead and tell the good people, hey, Aaron Rodgers, if you don't hurry up your buns, pal, making that decision, we'll go with Derek Carr and we'll be just dandy, pal. So stop fooling around and make a decision. So it could come from either side. I think there's a lot of ways to interpret that, Raw Power, but that's a good point as well. Raiders fan. I love hearing from Raiders fans. That's cool. So let's go with this. Dat Way Podcast. Raiders fan here. Derek Carr's a turnover machine. Check the stats. He is not that good. Most turnovers in 9 seasons than anybody, but good luck with the lemon. Carr. I will say this. Derek Carr is not perfect, obviously. I said he's a borderline top 10 quarterback, and he has had some turnover issues. That's a fair criticism of it. But to be honest, he's just so much better than what the Jets have had that I'd be willing to risk it for that because he also throws touchdowns. Talk about the 4,000-yard seasons. He's had at least, I'll make sure I get this one right. He's had like at least 20 touchdown passes every year of his career, I'm pretty sure. And I will confirm that here in a second to make sure I didn't sell you guys a bill of goods on the Derek Carr stats, but I'm fairly certain he's had at least 20 passing touchdowns in every season of his career except one. Let's look at that. Yes. So I could even be more specific. Derek Carr in every season of his career has had at least 19 touchdown passes. Here are the passing touchdowns from the rookie year to now. 21, 32, 28, 22, 19, 21, 27, 23, 24. Sign me the hell up. Now, the interceptions are large, to your point. Here he's had 217 passing touchdowns and 99 picks. Pretty good touchdown interception ratio. But the last 2 years, he has 28 picks over the last 2 years. A very high number. Now, of course, he also has 24 and 23 touchdowns. So he's got more touchdowns than interceptions. And by the way, that's been the case every year of his gosh darn career. And he's had some pretty good years there. So I respect the take that way. But again, to me, like, give me all the touchdowns, baby. I can overlook some of the interceptions. Again, a little bit of that, not to compare, but a little bit of that Brett Favre gunslinger. If you're throwing a little picks, but the other side as well, that could happen. That could happen. Love your work. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Let's keep going here. That's an interesting one. Big Daddy. Carr had 6 different head coaches 9 years for the Raiders. The Raiders defense hovered around the bottom 4 on average. He has huge upside. 100%. That there are reasons to be very happy about Derek Carr. He had multiple different head coaches. He's had all kinds of drama. I mean, think about the coaches that have been fired, the drama from players and teammates. And he's always at the press conference taking the bullets. His defense has friggin' sucked, and he's never just thrown people under the bus. Let me go to that one. Okay, so That Way Podcast, you're making a lot of appearances on the show. Can't play in the cold, but Jets want him. Laughable. I laugh, and I will tweet this out probably tomorrow because I got the video for my interview with Mo Moten. I laugh at the cold weather criticism of Derek Carr. To me, bluntly, it's bullshit. It's complete and utter trash. In Derek Carr's career, he's had about somewhere in the ballpark of 16 games where he's played in 40-degree or colder temperature in his career. And he's not performed well. I don't have the stat in front of me. I know he's not performed well. I know that. So we're going to judge a guy, okay? We're going to judge a guy that went to college at Fresno State, in California, so never cold. Then he went to the NFL and played for the Oakland Raiders, not cold. And then they moved over to Las Vegas, not cold. So you're telling me I mean freaking random, 16 game sample size of just random games, because they weren't consecutive, obviously. They're random parts of the year. So I'm just going to grab a random ass 16 game sample size and say one way or the other. Oh, Derek Carr sucks in the cold or he's great in the cold. No, I won't be doing that. To me, the people that are spitting that out are sheep. Sheep. Look deeper. That's surface level nonsense. I don't look into that at all. Again, if this is true, and I swear to it, if you came out and told me that Derek Carr stat, it was the opposite. They're like, he's 9-2 in cold weather games. I wouldn't be touting that. Like, look at Derek Carr. He's 9-2 in cold weather games. See, he's built for New York. I wouldn't be saying that either. I don't think the sample size matters on either sense. They're random games. First off, so he always trains and plays in warm weather. So of course, the cold weather games, they're random. They don't happen often enough. Playing in New York, where he's doing it all year long, I'm sure he'll get a little bit better at the cold weather thing, if that was even a problem. So to me, I just think that part of it is incredibly overrated. That wouldn't be a reason I want him or hate him, quite frankly, wherever he stood on the stand, personally. But different strokes, different folks, I guess. Different strokes, different folks. TJ. Carr's the right play for us. Cheaper and younger, you can fix more bringing in Carr. There's a case to be made, TJ. I would also, devil's advocate here, since Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback, he masked more deficiencies with his excellent elite play. He's not throwing 14. So let's compare those Aaron Rodgers stats. Why not? Let's get the Aaron Rodgers stats on here. I want to bring this up because I didn't know off the top of my head, but we'll know now. Okay. In the last 2 years, Derek Carr, has thrown 28 picks. In that same span, Aaron Rodgers has thrown 16. And really, so 16 is dramatically different than 28. That's 12 picks less. That means I could wipe away all of last season for Aaron Rodgers. If I took away all his picks last year, that would be the difference between the two. But really, that's an outlier. His 12 picks is the most he's had since 2010. Here were the interception totals in all those other years: 4, 5, 4, 2, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 8, 6. He went on a run there where he didn't have double-digit interceptions from 2011 to 2021. For a decade, he didn't have double-digit interceptions. So to push back on your point, TJ, is that, sure, with Carr, he is going to be cheaper. He is younger. That's facts. And with that, you're not going to be giving up picks to build around him. However, Aaron Rodgers is a top 3 quarterback. Derek Carr's a top 10. The difference in that differential, while you may have to pay more and pay more assets to acquire him, he will mask more deficiencies on your team because he's so much better than Derek Carr. Again, either one is a gosh darn upgrade. But just to address that point, I think that's an important nugget. And the one Super Bowl, people, what are we talking about here? The Jets only have one Super Bowl in their history. Are we going to say, well, he only has one ring? So that's one more ring than the Jets. So Dan Marino sucks? Is that where we stand, TJ? Well, Dan Marino's a piece of garbage. He's a trash quarterback. Come on, people. Come on. That, to me, and I got in this beef with Ryan Clark about it on social media. What a ridiculous take. This is so we from Jetsland, who haven't been to the playoffs, even had a ticket to the dance in 12 years. We're going to pick on a guy who, by the way, the last time the Jets were in the playoffs, he won the Super Bowl. That's interesting, but that's neither here nor there. So we haven't been to the dance. We haven't been invited to the party in 12 years. And the last time we were, he won the Super Bowl, but now we're going to nitpick that? I mean, come on. You don't like Rodgers, that's fine. There's a lot of reasons not to like Rodgers. He's a drama queen. He has some interesting interest off the field. He's just a unique personality. Like, there's a lot of reasons to not like Aaron Rodgers, and I won't blame any of you for having those reasons. However, there are a lot of reasons to like Aaron Rodgers. He throws a lot of touchdowns. He doesn't throw a lot of picks. He's impressive. He's talented. He's one of the best quarterbacks of our generation. To me, he would be the most decorated quarterback, and that's not really saying much. He'd be the most decorated quarterback in Jets history, and it's not close. Not close. But I appreciate the pushback. Lauren James on Facebook. Hey, Paul, love the show. Appreciate it. Thanks, Lauren. Carr could be a real good choice. Very good quarterback. Is Lamar Jackson going to be available? Jets. Yes. Great question, Lauren. There is much to be determined on that front. The franchise tag window opened up earlier today, which means NFL teams are allowed to slap the franchise tag on any player starting today. Now, I don't expect the franchise tag to be slapped on any player today, and we only have a few hours left in today anyway. It's supposed to be a last resort because these players aren't going to become unrestricted free agents for another month. It's a little less than that, but just for sake of the argument, it's for like another month. So it's going to be, once we get close to deadline, they're like, I guess we can't come to a deal, slap the tag. And by the way, they can still negotiate after that point. So we won't know, quite frankly, on the Lamar Jackson front for a little bit, which I believe ultimately may rule the Jets out of the conversation, because the only way you're in on Jackson is if Carr signs with a different team and Aaron Rodgers decides to stay, and then the Jets are in lock mode until free agency. And then all of a sudden you may be pivoting to Lamar Jackson. That could be possible in that sense. But I imagine the Jets are going to get one of Carr or Rodgers. That's what my gut says, and my gut has said Rodgers for a long time. So, but interesting question. Lamar Jackson would be a lot of fun. He's impressively talented. But I don't think timing-wise, I think the Jets will be out for that. But good question, Lauren. Jeffrey, he should be out of the cave, isn't he? As far as I know, again, and I will say I've been somewhat sheltered. I was on the radio show this morning, went to Taekwondo, and did all these other things. So I don't believe I've seen from any fans or anything that he's come out publicly, at least. But I believe, from what I understood, Aaron Rodgers was supposed to go on the Darkness Retreat on Friday. And if it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we were supposed to hear something from Rodgers today on Tuesday. We did not. Aaron Rodgers marches to the beat of his own drum. So he should be out at worst today. So we should hear from him tomorrow, because he said the end of the week. And if you're interpreting end of the week, because of course Aaron Rodgers didn't tell us exactly what it was, then you have to be talking Saturday. You can't be talking Sunday. Isn't the end of the week. That's like starting the new week. So it's got to be Saturday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we should hear from him on Wednesday. But Aaron Rodgers, what are we going to do? Let's go to Dane here, Auberbacher. Aaron Rodgers is only going to give us 2 years at the most. He has been contemplating retirement for the last few years, not worth trading draft compensation like a first rounder for. Plus, you're taking on his contract with Carr. You are not trading any draft compensation, just paying him. I'll work my way backwards. Carr thing, you're completely right. Not trading any assets. In terms of, quote-unquote, taking on the contract, Aaron Rodgers actually will rework the contract completely to acquiesce the trade. So that's less of a big deal, but I understand the point. Aaron Rodgers may only, quote-unquote, give us 2 years. I don't know about you, but the Brett Favre year to me, I'll just take it off screen so you can see the rest of my handsome face and beard, of course, Dan. And good question, good comment. I would say, personally, after 12 years of nothingness, like, I've felt nothing. The playoffs started and the Jets aren't in it. I would take 2 years of an Aaron Rodgers chase over 12 years of nothingness any day of the week. Any day of the week. Some fans seem hesitant to be willing to dive into that. The Brett Favre year was friggin' amazing, man. Did it end horribly and painfully? Of course it did. We were 8-3 on top of the friggin' world. I remember what happened at 8-3. I remember turning on ESPN and saying, oh, man, the Jets could get the number 1 seed. Those were the conversations happening at that point in time. The Jets beat the 10-0 Titans. They beat the New England Patriots in overtime in Foxborough. I don't know, man. To me, that was a freaking awesome season. It ended like crap, but there was a lot of great moments during that year. I thought the Jets could have won the Super Bowl that year, quite frankly. Super talented team. It didn't work out that way. You give me another chase like that, at least you know you're alive. It's almost like you grab a cigarette and like put it out on your arm. You're like, ooh, yeah, pain, sexy. I'm alive. That's what I want to feel. I want to feel alive. I felt dead for the last 12 years, for Pete's sake. I don't know anymore. When it's the playoffs, they're like, Paul, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know. Haven't been here. No friggin' clue, man. That's where I stand. So, but that's neither here nor there. All right, see, I'm going to be not catching. I know I'm really behind on comments, but I see a super chat just came in. So let's go to that from Vladdy P. Just got in, and this organization is a joke. Carr will not get a Super Bowl here. Get it through your head, Jet fans. Unbelievable. Well, first off, Vladdy P, if I may, I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Means a lot. Thanks, everybody. Carr will not get a Super Bowl here. I don't know if I can't say that with any level of confidence, but as I started off the show, and I'll kind of work our way back, Vladdy, with your comment, I believe unquestioned Aaron Rodgers on this team can get them to a Super Bowl, and I'm not blowing smoke. I feel confident spitting that take out. With Derek Carr, I don't feel as confident in saying that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a truthful thing. I think Derek Carr is a borderline top 10 quarterback. Now, if you have a borderline top 10 quarterback and all the other pieces, maybe you can win a Super Bowl. Who knows, right? I mean, we were looking for below average quarterback play to make the playoffs last year. So that's why, obviously, that, the Jets want Rodgers because of the ceiling. And I don't blame them for that, by the way. I don't blame them one iota. Do not blame them one iota for that, which is beautiful. Which is awesome to see. That's what you love to see. All right, let's. But thank you, Vladdy P, for the support on the channel, guys. That is available. The YouTube super chat. I will give you a big shout out on the channel, and we'll talk about a few things. Big Daddy here. Let's go through a couple more before we sign off. Big Daddy Boomer Syverson said that Rodgers needs to tell the Packers that he only wants to be traded to the Jets and do so immediately. I'm in on that 100%, and that's why potentially I've heard some of the. I didn't hear the comments. I read the comments, so I need to catch back up on that. But from what I heard from Boomer is that maybe the package won't be as expensive as people think, and it makes sense because again, when Aaron Rodgers comes out of the cave, I don't believe he's going to say, "I don't want to play for you guys anymore, Packers. I want to play anywhere. Trade me." And they're like, okay. I think Aaron Rodgers is the kind of guy that's going to come out of this cave, and if he doesn't want to play for the Packers, he's going to have an idea of where he wants to play. Is it the Jets? I don't know for sure, but he's going to say, I want to play for the Jets. I want to play for the Raiders. Like, let's go. Talk to them. Make it happen. They're like, okay, Mr. Rodgers, let's go. That's how I believe it's going to go down. And if he goes, let's say, in this magical world, he goes, I want to play for the Jets. The Jets are going to hear back through some back channel that he wanted you. Then all of a sudden the Jets go, well, we're in the position of power. He wants to come over here and we want him. So let's chat. Now, I'm not saying the Jets are going to bend him over the barrel and get trade a 5th round pick for Aaron Rodgers, but I think sure as hell that they could get him for a little cheaper for that to happen. Now, hopefully, like I said, Rodgers is coming out of this cave tonight, tomorrow, should be. And hopefully they're able to come together to a deal pretty quick. I'd imagine that there are some feelers out there during the Senior Bowl. I mean, people talk, okay? Technically, trade can't be official for another month, but I think they could look at each other, kind of go, this is about what it would take. Okay, cool. And a trade could come together very quickly, I would imagine. If Aaron Rodgers says tomorrow, hey, I want to the Jets, I think that thing happens pretty quick. That's my expectation anyway. All right, let me see if I can get a couple quick comments. I'll try to go rapid fire, guys. I'll try to go rapid fire with some of these questions. Let's go to this one. Gerard. Derek will be okay if the Jets draft another quarterback. I don't believe so. I think if Derek Carr comes in and the Jets use a pick on a quarterback, I think he will be upset. If Aaron Rodgers does, he'll probably be upset too. But man, you're screwed no matter what. Because if you draft Rodgers, he wants all the picks to help the team win a Super Bowl, I'd imagine. But also, the Jets got to be thinking for the future, because if Zach Wilson's not the guy, then you got to grab a Hendon Hooker or somebody that was Zach Rosenblatt's take to put behind him so you can develop him for the future. But I think that may bother him. Momo Adamo, Boy Green, I must say you definitely have that great radio personality voice and lingo. I hope to hear you in New York one day on the Fan. That'd be cool. I've not gotten that invite, but that would be fun. Yeah, I am a born and bred radio guy, which I'm sure comes across in some of these videos for sure, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I've been doing radio a long time. It's a great passion of mine. Let me see if I can get any more quickies here. Dave Yish. I swore I'd never buy another Jets quarterback jersey at Favre. Again, I've probably got 45 Jet jerseys. Probably 45 Jet jerseys or 45 overall jerseys, and most of them Jets. But I've got multiple Favre jerseys, Chad Pennington, Mark Sanchez, Zach Wilson, Geno Smith. Trying to think if there's any more off the top of my head. We have at least have those 5 different quarterbacks. And no, I love jerseys. I'm a big jersey guy. I'm a very big jersey guy on game day. I will wear jerseys. I've won custom all day. My old nickname back in high school football was I did this all day, kind of like pep speech on a week-to-week basis. So I do have that and a couple others. We got to get a boy green one in there for sure. But yeah, I am a jersey freak, and I will be buying one. If they get Aaron Rodgers, we're buying that jersey, baby. 1,000%. 1,000%, which is crazy. Guys, awesome live stream. Great, kind of spontaneous with the live video there from Diana Rossini. Again, if you guys missed it, you can see it at the beginning of the video. Please show your support, whether you have money or you don't. If you have funds to be able to support the show, you can send a super chat. We always appreciate that. But even if you can't, I understand. We are sometimes in tough times. The free way all of you who are watching live or after the fact can contribute is by liking the video and hitting subscribe and showing your support. Tell a friend if you'd like as well for all kinds of New York Jets content. Again, we're streaming live in 3 different places, but head on over to my YouTube channel, which, by the way, is in my description on Twitter. It's also here, obviously, live on YouTube, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. And if you're on the Heavy on Jets page, just go over to YouTube, hit it up. Takes only a few seconds, and you'll never miss any of my content, because just in case we don't go live on the Heavy on Jets, we still have video content almost daily here on the channel. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Hopefully, we continue to get more insight, and we'll be back as soon as news happens right here on the channel. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.